Nease. I am a storyteller, and I'm excited to be sharing some stories with you today. And I hope so far you're having a pretty good summer. I know it's different. So let me start. There was once upon a time a king. He was a good king. He wasn't one of those big mean kings you might have heard about. He was a really good king, and he took good care of his people. He made sure they had plenty to eat and good houses and clothes to wear, and he loved them, and they loved him. Oh, the people in his kingdom were so happy. And whenever they could, they would give the king a gift. For example, if you were a hunter, dun dun dun, and you were out in the deep dark woods and you saw a big buck deer, whoa ho, snuck along, bam, got the deer and said, "I will take this to the castle and the king will have venison for supper." Ah, what a great gift. Or maybe you're one of those talented ladies who does needlework, embroidery, and can make things, shapes on material that look like castles or dragons or the hounds and the horses. You might make a beautiful cape for the king. "Your Majesty, I have made you a cape." "Whoa ho, that is lovely. And it fits so well." Well, that's the way it was in that kingdom. One day, a fellow came up to the castle gate, banged on the door. The guard said, "Yes, what do you want?" "I have a present for the king." "Of course you do. Come on in." And so in came the fellow to the throne room where the king was sitting, and he set the box down. He said, "Your Majesty, I have a present for you." "Ho, ho, ho. I do love presents. What is it?" "Well, let's open it up." So he opened up the box, reached in, pulled out a cat. It was a lovely cat. Gray and white stripes, bright eyes. And he took the cat and he put it in the king's lap. Whoa, whoa. And immediately the king loved the cat, and the cat loved the king. "Thank you," said the king. "This is a marvelous present." Well, they became close friends. Anywhere the king went, the cat went. And anywhere the cat went, there you see the king. It wasn't long before people realized that the king had given the cat a name. He named it Cat, which the cat didn't mind. But one day, while he was sitting on the throne, the cat was in his lap, one of his advisors said, "Your Majesty, that's a very fine cat you have there." "Yes, I know. It's the most marvelous, most wonderful, most powerful cat in the whole world." "Yes, Your Majesty, it is. But don't you think it needs a better name than cat?" "I hadn't thought of that. Perhaps you're right. It's a wonderful cat, marvelous cat, the most wonderful, powerful, greatest cat in the whole world. I need to name it after whatever's the most powerful thing in the whole universe, and that would be the sun. The sun is the greatest thing ever. I will name my cat Sun." And he did. And the cat did not care. I don't think cats care what you name them. I mean, they're not like dogs where you're going to come running if you call. So there he had a cat named Sun. And he had a cat named Sun for quite a while, and one day he was out into his garden. He was checking on his roses, and it became dark, and he looked up, and heavy black clouds had moved in and were blocking the sun. "Oh-ho," said the king, "look at that. Those clouds block the sun." "Wait a minute. Clouds block the sun? Clouds are more powerful than sun. I should name my cat Cloud." And he did. Cat didn't care. So he had a cat named Cloud. And he had that cat named Cloud quite a while, until he was outside again. And this time he was in the meadow, and the wind began to blow. Whoa, he had to hold on to his crown and pull that cape up around him. Whoosh went the wind. And the king looked up, and the wind was scudding those clouds across the sky. Ho, ho! Look at the way the wind blows those clouds around the wind. Wait a minute. Wind is more powerful than clouds. I should name my cat Wind. And he did. Cat didn't care. Well, the cat remained Wind for quite a while, and then one day the king was in his counting house, counting out his money. 443, 444. When the wind began to blow right through the room, whoosh, and the papers and the money started blowing off the desk, and all of a sudden, bam! The wind blew the door closed, and everything settled down. "Ha," said the king. "Doors stop the wind. The doors stop the wind? Doors more powerful than wind. I should name my cat Door." So he did. Cat didn't care. Well, days went by, and another time the king was in his counting house again, and the door was closed. And he was counting out his money when out of the corner of his eye, he noticed a little teeny tiny mouse had made its way through the door. Made a little hole in the bottom. Look at that. And a mouse got through the... Wait a minute. Mouse got through the door. Mouse is more powerful than door. I should name my cat Mouse. And he did. And I don't think the cat minded, but before any of his cat friends found out that his name was Mouse, the cat saw the mouse, leapt up off the king's lap, flew across the room, grabbed a hold of that mouse, and gobbled it up. Whoa! Did you see that? The cat got that Wait a minute. Cat got the mouse. Cat is more powerful than mouse. I should name my cat Cat. And he did. And that's the name he kept. So we call that kind of story a circle story. It comes right back to where you started. There's lots of circle stories out there. They're kind of fun to make up if you think about it, because that's what we do. We get up in the morning, we have our breakfast, we get dressed, we either go to school or we play or we do our school on the computer or whatever we're doing. We have lunch, we do some other things, we have fun with the family, we have supper, we go to bed, and next thing you know, you get up and it's the whole thing all over again. So life's like a circle. Now, that particular king, of course, had a queen. We don't hear too much about her because she was very quiet. But she was very good at giving advice to the king, which was a wonderful thing. And that king and queen, well, they had a baby. Oh, she was lovely. Big brown eyes, sweet smile, silky skin, a beautiful, beautiful baby. Oh, she is lovely, said the queen. Let's name her Beauty. And they did. King had no problem with that name. Now they were going to have a big celebration, a party for the birth of the princess. And when it was time for that, they invited everyone in the kingdom to come. The young and the old, the rich and the poor, the fairies, the plain folks, everybody came to the castle to celebrate the birth of Beauty. What a party they had. Oh, the food was scrumptious and all kinds of desserts with lots of icing and rich, 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 rich candies. Oh, it was fabulous. They danced, they sang, they told stories, they played games. And toward the end of the time, they began coming over to the cradle. The fairies did, at least. And they would look down at Beauty and they would say, oh, I have a gift for the baby. And a gift they would give One might give the gift of generosity. One might give the gift of music. She will sing. One said grace. One said dancing. One said happiness. One said wisdom. They gave all these lovely gifts to this beautiful baby. And it was almost time for the last fairy to come along and give a gift when the room grew very still and it got a little cold and kind of dark feeling. They turned and looked, and the one fairy that had not been invited, named Millicent, an old, mean, awful fairy, had come into the castle. "Well," she said, "having a party, are we? And you didn't invite me? I'll show you what happens when people do that." And she flew right over to the cradle where Beauty lay, and she said, "I have a gift for her as well. When she's 16, she will prick her finger on a spinning wheel and die. Oh, a short, sweet life. Let that be a lesson to you when you don't invite me to your parties." And Millicent, that nasty piece of work, flew away. "Oh no!" cried the queen, and she fainted. "No, heavens!" said the king, and he caught his wife before she fell. But there was one fairy left, remember? She was the littlest and the youngest fairy. Her name was Olivia, Olive for short. And Olivia said, wait, I haven't given my gift." And she flew over to the cradle and she looked down at Beauty and she said, "Oh dear, I cannot take away what Millicent did, but I can change it a little. She will not die, no, but she will sleep. And she will sleep until awakened by her one true love." And everyone in the castle went, "Aww." Well, you can believe from that time on, everyone was real careful around Beauty. And the king, he had all the spinning wheels in the kingdom piled up and burned away. I don't know how the people made any clothes. For you see, with a spinning wheel, you take the wool or the flax and you spin it into threads. And when you have enough thread, you can put it on the loom and you can weave cloth. And when you have cloth, you can make clothes. Anyway, that's not part of the story, so I don't know what they did. But no spinning wheels. And did Beauty grow up to be a fine young lady? Yes, she did. All the wishes had come true. She could dance, she could sing, she was generous, she was kind, she was lovely. Everyone enjoyed her company. And Olivia, Olive for short, Olivia would check in with the castle every once in a while because she wanted to be and make sure Olivia was, the princess was okay as well. Time went by, and it was indeed time for her 16th birthday. People were nervous, but all precautions had been made. Nothing can go wrong, said the king. And Olivia was there, known as Olive. And she was in the kitchen with the cook, helping make the birthday cake. It was this high, this big around, with layer after layer after layer after layer of icing and roses and buds and ribbons. It was beautiful. Now, because everyone was busy, Beauty had a chance to wander off by herself. She didn't usually get away with that. But she went out into the courtyard. It was a gorgeous day, and she was looking around, and she saw a little door that led up to a tall tower she had never noticed before. Huh, I wonder what's in there. So she went over and she opened that little door. there was a stairway that went round and round and round and round and round. And Beauty thought, oh, I've got to go see what's there. So up those stairs she went, up and up and up and up and up and up, till she came to the top of the tower. And when she stepped there, she saw a strange instrument. She had never seen it. It was maybe a toy or a machine, or well, it had a big wheel on it and a little seat in front of it. And Beauty thought, I wonder what it is. Let's see, if I sit here and I push the pedal with my, oh look, the wheel goes around, whee! And she was so excited, she put her hand down right on the tip of that needle and pricked her finger. Oh! 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 And fell asleep. Well, Olivia was in the kitchen, remember, with the cook, making that big cake. And all of a sudden, the cook went, and fell right in the cake. Oh no, said Olivia. And she looked around, and the scullery maid who'd been scrubbing the pots and pans was asleep, leaning over the basin. No, 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 said Olivia. And she flew into the throne room, and there was the king and queen. They'd been right in the middle of wrapping up presents, both asleep in their chairs. No! Oh no! Olivia flew out into the courtyard and she looked around. She called for Beauty, but she didn't answer. Everything was asleep. The dog was asleep. The cat was asleep. The soldiers were asleep. The whole castle was sleeping. And then she saw the little door. She flew over to it and she looked up at that winding staircase, and up she flew. Up she flew and flew and flew, and she came to, no, oh poor Beauty. Now I know you've seen pictures of that sleeping Beauty, and she's stretched out in a royal bed. But that's not where she went to sleep. She went to sleep plop, right there on that spinning wheel. So Olivia got busy, and she made a bed. She brought in some straw and then some moss, and then, well, the geese and the ducks were all asleep, so she pulled a bunch of feathers and made a little feather bed, and then she laid Beauty on that bed and pulled a soft cover over her head and got her a pillow. And then she went and she made everybody else as comfortable as she could. She got the cook out of the cake and laid her out, and she took the king and queen and put them on rugs, and I mean, she was busy for a long time. She flew back up to that tower to see how Beauty was, and she peeked out the window, and that's when she saw a whole wall of thorns this long. A wall of thorns had grown up just like that around the castle. Oh no, no, thought Olivia. How is anybody going to get through and be the true love that awakens her if they can't get through the thorns? Well, Olivia went nowhere. She stayed right there in the castle. She was the only one who was awake. And she flew here and there, and she did a lot of dusting. I don't know if you know how much dust can accumulate over the years, but it just could cover everything. So she stayed busy. She missed her time learning how to be a tooth fairy, although she didn't really like old teeth anyway. And she never had a chance to go and visit with the wood nymphs and see if she wanted to, no. And as for being a fairy godmother, which is what she really wanted to be, she thought she missed that chance too, but she could not leave Beauty in the castle. Now, people had heard the story of the Sleeping Beauty. And men had come with their swords or their axes. I'm going to get through the thorns. I'm going to kiss that girl awake, and I'll live in the castle. Whoa-ho! And they all came all that heard the story, they took their swords and took their axes, but when they would slice that thorn bush, more thorns would grow, even larger and sharper than before. Oh, it was terrible. And after a while, people stopped coming. Years and years, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years went by. Olivia was still there, guarding everything, watching over everything, making sure that Beauty stayed dusted. And on the 100th day of the 100th year, there was a fellow. There was a fellow, a prince, of course, riding through the forest on his way to visit a far relative. And as he rode, he came upon an old woman, and the old woman said, "Oh, sir, I'm so hungry. Could you spare some food for me?" And the prince, because he had a kind, good heart, he dismounted off his horse, he took his sack of food, he sat down with the old woman and shared a meal. And when they were through eating, that old woman said, "You're a good man, and I've got something for you." And she reached over and she put her hand on the prince's long, shiny sword. "This sword will hold you in good stead, my fellow. You take care of it." Well, the prince looked down at his sword, and when he looked up, the old woman was gone. That was strange, he thought. Well, picked up his stuff, got back on his royal mount, and off he rode. Well, you know that when he came to that wall of thorns, he thought about stories his grandmother had told him about a sleeping princess and an enchanted castle. She hadn't said anything about a wall of thorns, and he might have ridden by, except there, just above the top of the wall of thorns, he could see what looked like the top of a tower. Now, there was a flag hanging there, a banner, and if the wind had been blowing, it would have done that. But the wind was asleep as well, and so the prince looked, and he looked at the thorns, and he thought, "I think there's a castle in there. I think I'll go see." So he got off his horse, pulled out his long silver sword, and he walked over to that big wall of thorns, and he slashed down, and no thorns grew back. He slashed and he slashed and he slashed and he slashed until finally he had enough room to get in. Sure enough, he could see the castle. He walked right in because the door was open. And everything was asleep. Dogs, cats, horses, the soldiers, the ladies in waiting, the men who were always waiting. Everybody was asleep. Strange, he thought. Now, what did Granny say? You got to, no. She's going to be awakened by a kiss. Well, where is she? He looked here and he looked there. He saw the kitchen. He saw the throne room. He saw all the fancy rooms, and then he saw that little door in the tower, and he went up and up and up and up and up that windy stair. And there on that bed lay Beauty. I cannot tell you how excited Olivia was. She had been waiting for this for years. She was right up there in the corner watching everything. In came the prince. He saw Beauty, and she was still beautiful. Because when you're in a fairy enchantment, nothing changes. You don't grow old. Things don't dry out. Everything stays just like it was. He walked over to the sleeping princess. He knelt down and he gave her a kiss. For a moment, nothing happened. And then her eyes fluttered open. and she stretched. Oh, I had the strangest dream, she said. I dreamed of you. I dreamed of you. And they fell in love, as you can imagine. Well, when she woke up, the whole castle woke up. And the dogs and the cats and the mice and the rats and the horses and the horse people and the soldier, everybody woke up. Everybody stretched, rubbed their backs. Man, what a good nap they'd had. It was time for the party, they thought. They had a big celebration. The prince with them, Olivia there too. And you know what happened. They had a royal wedding not long after that, and everybody lived as happily as they could ever after. And as for Olivia, she was double promoted to become a fairy godmother. Oh, she was so excited. And as for Millicent, Millicent had made enemies of the hornets. And one night, they had a big run-in. And those hornets, well, you know, they had those long stingers, much more powerful than anything Millicent had to offer. And that was the end of her. So, there we have my version of Sleeping Beauty. You know, sometimes we can take these fairy tales that we love and we can tell them in a different way. I know that you know this story. You know, we like things in threes. We like the three bears and we like the three little pigs. And we also like this threesome. Once upon a time, at the edge of the bluff, there lived 3 billy goats with the last name Gruff. They like munching and crunching on the sweet green grass. But a big old troll wouldn't let them pass. There was a bridge they had to cross, guarded by this dude who thought he was boss. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap. That's your part. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap. Well, the first billy goat was so tiny and small, he hardly had any meat on him at all. He crossed that bridge trip-trapping on each hoof, and the troll heard the trip-trapping on his roof. Who's that trip-trap, trip-trap, trapping? Who disturbs me while I'm napping? I'll eat you up. I'm hungry and mean. I'm the meanest old troll you ever seen. Me, I'm so tiny and small, one bite you swallow, I'm gone, that's all. Wait for my brother, he's bigger than I. Far as goats go, he's an average guy. I'll go and eat that sweet green grass, and I'll be much fatter next time I pass. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap. Well, the second billy goat was medium in size. Just a regular, ordinary guy. He crossed that bridge trip-trapping on each hoof, and the troll heard the trip-trapping on his roof. Who's that trip-trap, trip-trap, trapping? Who disturbs me while I'm napping? I'll eat you up. I'm hungry and mean. I'm the meanest old troll you ever seen. Don't eat me. Take my advice. I ain't the kind of goat you'd look at twice. Wait for my brother. He's bigger than I, and while you're waiting, I'll say goodbye. I think I'll give that grass a try. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap. The third billy goat was the king of the crop. He had beat rock steady and old bebop. He crossed that bridge trip-trapping on each hoof, and the troll heard the trip-trapping on his roof. Who's that trip-trap, trip-trap, trapping? Who disturbs me while I'm napping? Oh, it's you, the goat I've been waiting to meet. I'm hungry for a good goat treat. Cowabunga, dude. You got a bad attitude. And your bad attitude makes you downright rude. I'm gonna take my spears, butt you so high, you're gonna be a flying up there in the sky. And that big billy goat, he lowered his horns and he, pow, butted that troll back to where he was born. The troll is gone, gone for good, my friends, and all stories must come to an end. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap. Trip, trap, trip, trap. End of rap. Yeah. That's a fun one to do. And it's fun if you have time at home to take some of those stories and act them out. You could put on a play for your mom and dad or your brothers and sisters. Or if there's only one of you, you can do it with dogs and not real dogs. Stuffed animals and dolls, whatever you happen to have. So think about a play you could put on yourself. Now, I'm a storyteller, but I am not as famous as this storyteller. He lived years and years and years ago, even further back than Sleeping Beauty. Long, long ago in Greece, there was a fellow named Aesop. And Aesop was a storyteller, and people loved his stories because they always had a meaning. They always had a little lesson there. And people would take his stories, and then they would go and they would tell the stories. You've heard some of his. You've heard the story of the tortoise and the hare with a race, remember? And the tortoise, who was slower really, but kept on going, was the winner. I'm sure you've heard of that one. And there are all kinds of stories that Aesop told, but this is one of my favorites. When I was a little girl, I had a terrible habit of screaming whenever I was really mad. And my mother would think I was hurt. And she would come running out of the house. What's wrong? What's wrong? And I was like, I'm so mad at my sister. You know what she did? You cannot scream like that, said my mom. You make me think you're hurt. Well, you know, I didn't learn that lesson right away. I would scream whenever I was so mad and I wanted someone to know how mad I was. And then one time, while I was learning to ride my bike, and for the first time I was going down the hill, and I went down faster and faster, and I fell, and I skinned up my leg and my arm and my elbow and the side of my face. And I screamed. My mom did not come. She thought I was just mad again. So I had to hobble myself all the way home. I learned a lesson then, just like this boy did. There was once upon a time a boy who lived in a small village. A lot of the people in the village had farms. And everybody had work to do, and this boy had work to do as well. It was his job to take the sheep to the meadow so that they could eat, and then bring them home safely in the evening. His job was not only to take the sheep there, but to watch out for them, because in the woods nearby, there were hungry wolves. And if the wolves could get to the sheep, then, well, the sheep would be lost and the boy, and the whole village would suffer. So, he watched the sheep, he watched the sheep, he watched the sheep, he watched the sheep. This is so boring. I don't want to watch the sheep. There's no wolves, there's nothing around. Unfortunately, he had never been to school. He couldn't entertain himself with a good book. One day, he got to thinking about what would happen if he really saw a sheep. I mean, if he really saw a wolf, he could see the sheep. He saw a wolf. If there was a wolf, maybe coming right out of the forest there, what would he do? Well, he would yell. That's what he would do. He would yell for help, and everybody would come. That would be exciting. I think I'd like to just see what happens. And so he did. The boy stood up and he cried out, "Wolf! Wolf! Wolf!" Everyone in the village heard, dropped what they were doing, picked up any handy thing they could find, a hoe or a rake or a dishpan, and they ran up to where the boy was in the meadow. "Where is he? Where is he?" Oh, you all look so funny. What do you think you're going to hit with that rolling pin? No, I'm sorry. I was just trying it out to see what would happen if there was a wolf. Don't do that again. Yeah, we have work to do. And they all went back. The boy thought it was funny, though. You ought to see him. Well, days and days went by, and it was boring, and there were no wolves, and once again, the boy thought, well, this time I'll pretend I really saw one. That's what I'll... Wolf! 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 He cried. Everybody dropped what they were doing. They ran from the fields. They ran from the houses, grabbing anything they could to fight off the wolf. And when they got there, they looked around and they said, where is it? I thought, well, there were two, maybe not a wolf. You did this again. Don't do it again, ever. And they all went back to work. Well, kind of like me, that boy did not learn his lesson. Days went by. And then, as he was sitting under the tree, he happened to look up, and he did see a gray shape at the edge of the forest. And then he saw 2 or 3 more gray shapes with it. Beady eyes, a long snout, and lots of teeth. Oh, yeah. Oh, wolf, 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 wolf. And when the boy cried, the wolf, 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 the people at home, they paid him no attention. Just that boy again. We're not being fooled by him. And they went on with their work. Wolf! Wolf! Cried the boy again and again, and the wolves came. And the sheep scattered, except for those that the wolf got. And the wolves carried them off. Some they just killed. And when the boy came down to the village without the sheep, he said, I told you there were wolves. I told you, wolf, wolf. And the man closest to him looked at him and said, you know, when you lie, and when you lie, people don't believe you anymore. Now we're all going to suffer because of you. End of story. I have one more thing for you, a real treat. I am so excited. Not too long ago, while I was lying in bed reading, I heard a little tiny voice. And I looked, and it was a flea. Yeah, I've got a dog, and I know fleas. I don't like fleas. But this flea was right there by me. And I said, well, are you talking? And in a little voice, he said, yes. I said, huh. I said, what's your name? He said, I'm a flea. I'm a flea. Well, I'm a person. We got to be friends. And Ima told me how he knew tricks. So today, I put Ima in my little black purse. And I asked him to come with me because he does know tricks. And he's such a fun little flea. I just never had a pet flea before. I've had gerbils and hamsters and dogs and cats and fish, but there you are. Yeah. We're telling stories, and I thought maybe you would like to be here. And we're being recorded. So if you want, what? You want to do a trick? Yeah, that's what I thought. You might do a trick. Just a little easy trick to show them what you can do. What do you want to do? Oh, a somersault in the air. Okay, I got you. That'll be easy. We did that one. All right, so you guys watch. Here goes Ima. You ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I got him. Good trick, Ima. Good trick. You want to do another? You want to see another one? What are you going to do this time? 2 somersaults? Oh, I don't know, I don't know. That would be... Oh, all right, okay, if you want to. Watch carefully now. 2 somersaults. Wow. 1, 2, 3. Oh, whoa. Almost didn't catch him. Oh, that was really great. Okay, that's probably... What? No. You cannot do 3. Okay. All right, your chance for fame and fortune. All right. He's going to try 3 somersaults. I don't know if he can do it. But if you watch, we'll know. Okay, are you ready? All right, Emma, you ready? You're sure for 3? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. I caught you. You were fantastic. Give him a hand. Yay. Oh dear. Sorry, Emma. I think maybe that's enough stories for today. I'm gonna go home and wash up. Thank you.